thinking bigger. We can go bigger. There's bigger things to do. There's bigger folks out there to meet. Let's try to take bigger strides. The second part of that is preparing to go bigger. So just because we want to go bigger doesn't necessarily mean we're prepared to go bigger. What does getting prepared to go big look like? And part of that is increasing our confidence in being able to go big. So getting clear on what going big is, and then making sure we have the framework. And then the final bit of that is actually taking bigger action. Taking big action should just be consistent. We should be consistently taking bigger strides, because it's easy for us to rest on our laurels and rest on what we did yesterday or on yesterday's meetings. And that's great. We had 25 meetings in March, but let's get 50 meetings in April, increase our impact. This concept of the big fish is one that I love working on with early stage companies, which is, if there was a big fish who could move the needle for you and your business in a big way, who would that big fish be? Who would those big fish be in plural? If you had a big fish or multiple big fish, who would these people be? Why would they move the needle for your business in a certain direction? So I'll give you some examples of who some of these big fish could be. You know, if I was the genie in the bottle and I could create any relationship for you, what would that relationship be? Who would it be with? What would the attributes of this person be? Why would you want to meet that person? What would you say if you got in front of that person? So here's some examples. A dream client. A dream client is great. Because a dream client could have some, they lend their notoriety to you. If you landed them as a dream client, then you could put their logo on your website. You can get their testimonial, right? This is the why behind who would move the needle for you. A dream partnership, a dream investor, right? The dream client, the dream customer. So maybe you're selling an actual product. If there was a dream customer to buy your stuff, a high profile customer. A dream distributor, maybe you have products and you need someone to distribute your products. A dream publisher, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc. A dream podcast to get you featured on. A dream stage where you could tell your message and share your word. These are big fish opportunities. So we can't get to those opportunities if we're not aware of those opportunities. The second we're aware of them and we make our list and we say, okay, these look like, if I were to make anything happen in this arena with these big fish, and I was able to just even land one, it could move the needle for my business. This is how we make outsized gains. A lot of times what we do in business is we're making tiny, small, incremental gains every single day. And you have to. It's like lifting weights, right? One rep is not going to do it. But if you had a trainer, or you're taking your supplements, or you're doing these other things, now you're maximizing the gains of the small things that you're doing. So why don't we spend our time more just talking about those bigger outsized gains? Because those are the things that are a little scarier. Those are the things that require a little more from us. They require a little more accountability. They're harder to crack the code on those. So I'd rather spend our time talking about those things here versus like sending one more email, creating one more social post. We know we have to do this. Right? Making one more phone call. Those are things we have to do. The real question is, if you could make one outsized gain in your business, what would that be? Who would it be with? Making a list of 5 to 10 big fish, but an actual list. So it can't be so crazy that you don't think it could happen, right? Yes, it's cool to live in the ether and think big things will happen for your life and business, of course, but Elon Musk most likely is not going to come down from his spaceship and hand you a check for $1 million as your investor. But there are other people out there that would make sense. So if you had a list of 5 to 10 people, and again, dream client, dream partner, dream investor, dream customer, dream distributor, dream publisher, dream stage, dream podcast, if there was a spokesperson, is there a dream spokesperson for some, if Mark Cuban became your spokesperson, what would that do for you? Right? Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, any of these guys, like, I've seen businesses take on spokespeople and it rapidly change their business, like dramatically. And these things are possible. We have to figure out how to do it with equity and partnerships and deals and all this stuff, but it's all possible. I remember years ago, I created an app, a skateboarding app. It was a randomizer. It was a trick. And you play this game with your friends and you spin the wheel and it gives you a trick and then you have to do it and your friend has to do it. And I was selling it on the iTunes store. This is a app, the very first iPhone. And I was like, I need to move this thing faster. Like I'm getting some sales, but I need some traction. So I reached out to the big skate mag and I said, hey, can you guys just write about the fact that I did this? They said, sure, we need stuff to write about. I said, great. So I put it in the magazine. I got some notoriety. Instantly, I started getting more sales. And I was like, well, I know a bunch of pro skaters. Let me just go do a deal with 2 pro skaters. So I did a deal, a rev share. And I said, for every app I sell, I'll just give you guys a piece. Instantly, they started well, now this is early days of social media. So I wish it was today, but they were talking about it to their community on their little feeds or what I think it was Facebook back then. We did some YouTube videos and my sales grew again. So it's like I was able to work with the dream publisher, which was the skate mag. I was able to work with my dream influencers, the guys that were endorsing my product. This is how I increased without spending a dollar, right? These things can happen for us in our business, and we should always be looking for those opportunities in our businesses. It's like at certain points in time, we have to think about like how we can slice and dice this thing to create leverage, because that is really ultimately the conversation when we start talking about big fish is leverage. You always got to look for the leverage in your business. So if you started thinking about your business like, okay, well, I'd like to, 10x, you want to 10x your business. Well, you can't 10x your business with just your own might. You need leverage to have these much, much bigger gains. So that's what this call is, leverage, right? That's what big fish are. Big fish are leverage. How do we get them? How do we attract them? Well, we can't attract them unless we know who they are. The second we know who they are and we put them on our list, which is our homework assignment, it's like build our list of 5 to 10, then we have to think, well, now I actually need to get their contact information. Like I got to go to LinkedIn. There's a bunch of tools out there. If you need help, I'm trying to find people's contact information. Some people are hard to find. Some people aren't. LinkedIn is probably hands down the best resource to find people's contact information. There's also hovering in people's orbit. What events are people going to? Let's follow them on social media. Let's ask for a connection requests on LinkedIn. Do we know people that know them? Can we get referred to these big fish? How do we start moving in their orbit? And so we can kind of become like a little blip on their radar, and they go, okay, I know where you're at, right? It's different for everybody and what you're trying to accomplish, but we just want to kind of hover in their orbit. Again, that if you have a mutual contact and get a referral, obviously that's hands down the best. I've seen people make relationships with big fish just by commenting on their feed, jumping in on their LinkedIn posts and jumping on their Twitter posts and DMing them and just commenting and kind of becoming a valuable part of their ecosystem, right? It doesn't happen overnight. Just because you want a big fish doesn't mean like they're going to say, oh yeah, okay, I don't know you, but let's work, right? It might take some time to build these relationships, but we've got to know who these people are. So knowing the attributes of these big fish is the next piece, because you say, well, here's my list of big fish. I know these people by name, but let me just think about the attributes. What is it about these people? Oh, they work in these industries. They're in these geographies. There's in these demographics. They're in these income brackets. They do these types of activities. They have these types of behavior and psychographic profiles. I know more or less what makes up this group. Let me multiply my 5 to 10 and try to get it to 50. Let me get to 100, because now I know who I'm ultimately targeting for people that can move the needle for my business in a big way.